Okay, guys. I'm running out of pajamas. I don't know if we can keep the streak going. So we're probably gonna have to break the streak. I know some of y'all been enjoying the reviews in pajamas. But yeah. Anyway, we got another champion reveal that got shown today by the Legends of Runeterra team. My boy Jarvan IV. I'm kidding. It's Jarvan IV. All right, let's go over Jarvan IV and the other Demacia cards from the next set that got revealed today. All right, so Jarvan IV, 6 mana, 5/3 with barrier. When you attack, pay my cost to summon me, challenging the strongest enemy. In order for Jarvan to level up, allies have to survive 4 strikes from enemy blockers. Jarvan's also an elite, which is very important for that's very important. But you'll see later in the video why. Level 2, he becomes a 6/4, keeps barrier. When you attack, pay my cost to summon me, challenging the strongest enemy. In addition to that, at the start of every round, you create a fleeting cataclysm in hand. And whenever he challenges an enemy, you give him barrier for that round. Every time he challenges. Okay, so his level 1, I'm not too impressed by his level 1, actually. He's not as sticky as Lux, who is a 4/5 with barrier. The fact that you can open attack and just instantly spend 6 mana to put Jarvan into play, attacking and challenging something while having barrier himself, does make him unique. He's kind of like a unit you can play at burst speed in that specific scenario. So he kind of acts like a burst spell. But I don't like the fact that you still have to spend 6 mana. And there's situations in the late game where you might be forced to go under 6 mana first before attacking if Jarvan is in your hand, but you don't want to play him. But his level 2, Jarvan gets much better at level 2 since he refreshes his own barrier every time he swings. He can give himself Challenger and a free attack with the Cataclysm spells he makes every turn. So in a way, he has Scout and Challenger. If he's the best unit you have on board, and he likely will be. He's kind of a better version of Shyvana, level 2, which is kind of sad for Shyvana. Riot, please buff Shyvana, please. Anyway, let's get into the decks. So, first deck, elites, 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 especially given the other spoilers we got today. They definitely got some love, not just with Jarvan, but this entire reveal. The elites definitely got some love. Everything shown today. My concern is that elite decks didn't really need a 6-drop, at least in my opinion. Cithria the Bold and even Genevieve were both pretty good, to me anyway. So it kind of sucks that Jarvan also cost 6, but Jarvan's probably going to end up being the best choice for a 6-mana unit in elites specifically. Garen is likely going to be the other champion you're going to run with Jarvan in an elite deck. The only other deck I could see Jarvan working in is a different take on what I call barrier mid-range, along with Shen. But it's generally known as Fiora Shen. Not many people know about this, but at one point there was a Shen mobilized deck that was similar to Fiora Shen. But it was a bit slower, and it ran Garen instead of Fiora, along with other higher cost cards like Radiant Guardian and Unyielding Spirit before they both got nerfed. With Mobilize reducing Jarvan's mana cost if he's in your hand, I could see that style of deck making a bit of a comeback or something similar to it. I think those are the only 2 styles of decks you'd want to play Jarvan in, since I don't think he's worth playing if you're not actively trying to level him up. And to do that, you want units with big stats, along with the ability to protect your units, with Challenger being kind of a bonus. There are a couple of other fringe synergies like Jarvan and Taric that could work, but I'm less excited about those. All right, so let's talk Cataclysm. This is a 3-mana slow spell that reads, an ally starts a free attack challenging an enemy, and when it's cast as Jarvan's champion spell, you create a Jarvan IV in your deck. This is probably going to be good enough to see play in not only Jarvan decks, but other decks with champions that benefit from striking other units like Fiora, Garen, or a bit of a stretch, but even someone like Draven. What's interesting about this card, though, is that in the Jarvan reveal video, it shows this card granting an attack token. So that would mean this card could even work well with Riven. It could work well with Quinn and Misfortune. This basically gives you a mini rally effect that you can play on your opponent's turn. And it only gets better if you have 9 total mana and a Jarvan in your hand. There are other 3-mana Demacia cards that also grant Challenger, most of them at burst speed, like On Guard and Confront. But because Cataclysm has the flexibility of being good on your opponent's attack round, I think Cataclysm is going to get the slight edge over those other spells. All right, let's talk King Jarvan III. 7-mana 3/6 with Tough, also an elite. When I'm summoned, draw Jarvan IV. If he's already in play, instead give allies Challenger and Scout this round. I am pretty sure if you're playing Jarvan, then you're playing this card along with Jarvan. This kind of gives me Slain Leviathan vibes with these two working together type of thing. But it's excellent in Jarvan decks, especially since you get even more value if Jarvan is already in play. Keep in mind, King Jarvan III gives himself Challenger and Scout as well, not just your other allies. I think the only thing that might make this card better is if he gave Challenger and Tough, since I think Tough gives Jarvan IV a slightly better chance of leveling up than Scout does. But that could be me overvaluing Tough and undervaluing Scout a little bit. All right, so once again, we are switching screens here to show off the other Demacia cards that got revealed today, along with Jarvan IV. Quick shout out to Cosmic for putting this graphic together. As always, Cosmic has been putting these graphics together anytime we have a spoiler season in Legends of Runeterra for an upcoming set that's coming out. He's been doing it for quite a while. So yeah, big shout outs to him. Feel free to check out his Twitch channel, which is above my face. That's the link up there. But yeah, let's start off with Penitent Squire. This is a 1-mana 2/2 that reads, when I'm summoned, if you behold an elite, create a Tattered Banner in hand. The Tattered Banner is a 1-mana burst spell that reads, the next time you summon an ally this round, grant it Challenger. This is basically an elites only 1-drop. I don't think it's going to replace Cithria of Cloudfield, since she's also an elite, but instead this will be played alongside Cithria, instead of the Fleet Feather Tracker that you might see sometimes in elite decks. But yeah, this is a solid 1-drop for elites for sure. I don't see them not running this. Battlefield Prowess, 1-mana slow spell, grant an ally +1/+1. This one I am not too impressed by. I think it's probably the worst card spoiled today, if I'm being honest. At least if we're talking about building elite decks with these cards. Radiant Strike is a direct comparison to this, since it also costs 1. It also gives an ally +1/+1, although it's a temporary buff, but it's a burst spell. So you get the same stats for the same cost. The only difference is this is permanent and Radiant Strike is not. And Radiant Strike, you can cast at burst speed. This you can't. The problem is that even though this gives you the stats permanently, temporary stat buffs are almost and sometimes just as good as permanent stat buffs in Legends of Runeterra, especially when the stat buff is this small. Permanent stat buffs start to matter more the larger the stat buff is. But yeah, it doesn't really matter for something this small. Couple that with the fact that Radiant Strike sees 0 play as well, and I doubt this is gonna see play either. All right, let's move on to Honored Lord. Honored Lord, 2 mana, 3/2, elite. The first time I challenge an enemy, give me barrier this round. Now, this one is good for elites, if nothing else. Outside of Battlesmith, elites haven't had a good 2-drop to play that's actually a good attacker. And please don't say Vanguard Defender. Please, no. Just, no. Anyway, Honored Lord curves into Cataclysm, and it even curves into other 3-mana Demacia cards that grant Challenger like Confront and Laurent Duelist. Also, it's solid with King Jarvan if you have Jarvan IV already in play. Golden Aegis, 4 mana, slow spell, give an ally barrier this round, and rally. This card's pretty good. I don't think this will replace Relentless Pursuits necessarily. I'm not even sure if Jarvan decks, which have more incentive to play Golden Aegis, would actually run this card over Pursuit. When talking about mana costs for spells, 4 mana is quite a bit higher than 3 mana because that means you can't just bank spell mana from a previous turn anymore. You have to also save 1 normal mana on top of that, which doesn't seem like a big deal, but it actually is. It's a bigger deal than you think. The only deck I could see this card replacing Relentless Pursuit in is Fiora Shen. Now, speaking of Fiora, I will say Fiora combo style decks that focus on her 4-kill win condition got a big win with Golden Aegis. I don't see those decks not running this card. And finally, we have Gallant Rider. This is a 4-mana 4/4 elite that reads, the first time I challenge an enemy, transform me into Vanguard Cavalry. This card is pretty nutty for elite decks, especially if you're going to run Jarvan. So this turns into Vanguard Cavalry, and for those that don't remember, Vanguard Cavalry is a 5-mana 5/5 elite with tough. So if you get to challenge something with this, they're gonna turn into a 5-mana 5/5 tough. That's pretty hard to get rid of with damage alone. That said, this might still face competition from Vanguard Bannerman because elite decks are typically made up of almost entirely Demacia cards, and usually 3 to 6 cards from another region. And with all the other spoilers from today, that's probably going to continue to be the case. Shurima will probably be the splash with Exhaust and possibly Renekton if Garen doesn't end up panning out. So yeah, as good as Gallant Rider is for elites, unless you want to run 2 different 4-drops, Bannerman is probably still better. But those are all the cards that got spoiled today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, feel free to leave a like. Hit the like button just below the video. Lets me know you enjoyed it. Lets me know that you made it to the end. And of course helps the video out on the YouTube algorithm. I mean, you don't have to like it, but I would appreciate it personally. Especially if you want to see the channel grow. That's gonna help as well. Liking, sharing, leaving a comment down below. Also, if you made it to the end, I'll do a roll call. If you made it to the end, like the video and let me know in the comment section that you enjoyed your stay. I'm just gonna steal that from a certain popular Twitch streamer. I'm just taking it. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Okay. Wait, before the video ends, if you loved it, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future videos from me. So, but yeah, that's it. Hopefully you enjoyed your stay. I appreciate you taking time out of your day to watch this video, and I'll see you next time.